Well, hello and welcome. Whether you're on this live, we want to thank you all your smiling faces. Awesome to be here. It's an honor. And if you're on this recording, we want to just high five. Kudos to you for stepping up and showing up. You have an open heart, an open mind, and not just that, but also acting on your goals and actually acting on your God-given talents and gifts and abilities as well. So, as probably anybody watching this will know, I'm Robert here in North Central Texas. Beautiful day. And it is my honor to introduce our guest of the next 25 to 30 minutes here. Her and I met, oh my goodness, 25, 23-ish years ago. Um, a little briefly, some virtual meetings, and then we obviously met across the big pond as well over in the beautiful country of China a couple times there. And through the years, we stayed in touch and connection. And then I went on my journey doing all the things I was doing, and Allie went on a journey of, oh my goodness, honing her. She always had these, she's always been a leader. She's always loved to teach and impart and had a passion for mentoring and coaching and obviously always continually learning and growing. And she became a highly successful professional in the network marketing space, six-figure earner. And also, at one point, I'll let Allie share her story. At one point, because of her move from China to Mexico, she was came face to face with some of the realities of how to continue because she never lost a passion to build her residual income and leverage her time, though she came face to face with the reality that she needed to really master the strategies behind building it online, social media, and along with her team she had already in place. And so she's been on an amazing journey to do that. She's become a high level coach in a program called Attraction Marketing, and she's coaching now individuals all over the planet, including myself. And so, without further ado, I'm going to welcome Miss Ali Mona.
Thank you, Robert. I'm honored, truly honored, and really thrilled to be here and to spend a couple minutes with you guys today talking about some of the key elements to building a network marketing business online. So, with your permission, I will share screen, and this presentation is yours. So, I will download it for you and get it to Robert. And what I want to talk about today are effective strategies to attract, influence, and enroll online. Now, to be perfectly clear, there is nothing wrong with building your business belly to belly, but you'll hear a little bit of my story and understand why I made this pivot to online building. So, this is my all of my heart and soul on one page here. I am the wife to the most supportive husband in the world, Ron, 16 years going strong, and I have four awesome, sweet little girls, mostly sweet, sometimes not sweet, but awesome little kids. And right here, we're celebrating the birthday of the little one in the front. Her name is Grace. And Grace came to our family through adoption. And she was born with half of a heart. She has hypoplastic left heart syndrome. And that changed the dynamic of our family dramatically. And never was there a time where I was more thrilled and at peace with my decision to become a professional in the network marketing industry than when she came into our world because the 6 weeks that we were in the hospital for her second open heart surgery, my business continued to grow, right? There was no boss I had to ask or beg time off from. This industry has given me the freedom, both in time and finances, to raise my girls how we want to. And forever, I will be forever grateful to the industry for that. I am a perpetual expat. Like Robert said, I was in China for 16 years and we've now been in Mexico for 3. We are in central Mexico and absolutely loved it. In my professional background, before I quit the 9 to 5 and went full time into network marketing and entrepreneurship, was in branding, marketing, and communications. And so I took that expertise. Every every step we've taken in our journey, both personal and professional, they all line up, don't they? And so now I can, looking back as, being 2020, I can totally see how each piece of my professional career aligned perfectly to do what I'm doing now. And so that personal branding specialist piece became really important when I was leading my team. And as we all sell the same things in the same company and we use the same platforms, it's it's your ability to bring you to the table that makes all the difference. We're going to talk a lot about that today. Strategy. Strategy is my number one strength. If you're familiar with Gallup Strengths, strategic is my number one strength. And my team and my husband, my children, like to say that I can find 100 ways out of a paper bag, and it's true. And so that comes into play in the coaching element of what I do. You know, my students don't get to stay stuck, and Robert can attest to that, for very long. Sometimes it's painful, but most of the time it's just awesome to be able to keep moving forward over and over and over again. Now, like Robert said, I built my business to a six-figure business in China belly to belly. My kids were little. I was traveling all the time. I was all around China. I do speak Mandarin. And so I was, teaching in English, teaching in Chinese. And when I moved to Mexico, I moved to a tiny city where there's five international families, and I didn't speak a lick of Spanish. And so I watched my business literally half itself in size overnight. China closed its borders after we left and stopped shipping of everything for 6 entire months. And I sat here going, what am I going to do? I can't learn Spanish that fast. I could hire an interpreter, but it's not super sustainable. And the buying power of the customers in our town are very, very limited compared to what I was used to in China. And so I fretted for a good minute as I watched this really unfortunate decline in my business. And I said, I got to go to the source. I got to find people who know what they're doing because I was trying online, but I had been off of Western social media for 16 years at that point. I had no influence, I had no community, and I was trying to emulate what other people were doing, and I just was not seeing results. And that's when my extensive research took me to the attraction marketing community. So, attractionmarketing.com is the community. And I invested initially in a beginner program, a 6 month program for 6,000 US dollars, which was a massive investment for my family at the time. Because remember, I had just lost a significant amount of income. But I knew I needed investment and I knew I needed to put some money behind it because that's what motivates me in particular. And so I learned, I finished my 6 months. I fell in love with the concept and with the skill sets that I was developing, and more so the confidence that I was developing, that I then went and upgraded to their highest level program at $20,000 and had to take a business loan, right? Like that amount of money was not sitting in my bank account to be able to do that. But I understood that this was the future of my business, and I wanted to invest the time and the money to do that. And so through that process, I began to teach other people, both in my company and then other companies around the world, these strategies. And it has made all the difference in my personal confidence about the future of my business. I'm in a season where my girls are bigger and I don't want to put the time into travel. I know what that takes. Like a lot of you know what that takes as well. And I'm unwilling to build my business like that. It was a personal decision. And so each one of us gets to decide how we envision building our business, both now and 5, 10 years down the line. And so those are my main strengths down there. The futuristic strength of mine looked out and said, in 5 years, what skill sets do I need to have acquired so that I have the business, I have built back the business and then surpassed it even, that my family needs to really thrive. And learning the online, the digital marketing skills for network marketers was absolutely key. And so you can just think and say, you know what, in 5 years, yeah, I do need to begin to feel comfortable and confident building online. If that's true, then actually today is the time to start learning and implementing some of these things because our online work, building influence, takes a bit of time. Yeah, nobody builds influence overnight, and we'll talk about that in a little bit. So, the focus for today's training is really around the unique challenges that we experience when we decide to grow our business online. The skill sets needed for success are actually quite different. And the problem that I want to focus on is finding and nurturing qualified leads without having to resort to these awkward, spammy tactics. Now, a lot of times, we'll say, well, just reach out to 100 people. Three are sure to say yes. When my company was launching into India, I was like, okay, I'm going to go on Instagram and I'm going to find 50 people in the health and wellness space that I believe might be good prospects. I would send 50 canned messages and I would get some hate, some blocking, lots of non-responses, and one or two that maybe wanted to take a look. But I lasted all of 7 days with that strategy. It was just too difficult emotionally and mentally to spend that much time trying to find qualified leads and not getting any results. And I thought to myself, man, if I only last 7 days and I'm a professional in this industry, how in the world could I ask somebody brand new coming along behind me to do that? I couldn't. Yeah. Now, if they chose to, fantastic, because I know people that it's working great for, but they have that fortitude to just keep going. It didn't work for me. I knew I needed different strategies. And so the reality that we see across the industry is this: within the same company, y'all sell the same products and you use the same platforms online. Yeah. And so if you're not one that wants to make their list of 100 and go through them all in a day, and then the next day make another list of 100 and go through them all in a day, what other tactics do you have up your sleeve? Right. The other thing that we're noticing across the industry is that in-person presentations seem a bit less effective, but more than that, they're taking a lot of resources, a lot of time. And lots of people are dropping ranks, which means, of course, lower income for promotion and events. Slow growth is slowing sometimes, and people are stagnant in their ranks if they don't skill up and learn some new tricks up their sleeve. Lots of people in the industry are tired. They need to do something new. And the bottom one here, prospects seeming to know it all. Have you guys noticed that? They've got preconceived ideas about the industry, preconceived ideas about your product or your company, and it makes it really difficult to even get a foot in the door so that you can begin the influence process to get them to take a look. Now, this isn't always, right? It really depends on your degree of influence online, but for somebody starting out, this is what we're seeing. And when somebody starts out online, a lot of times they just go and vomit the products on social media. Just like maybe new business people or new partners of yours, maybe if they lack a little bit of skill, might vomit all over the prospect at a coffee shop. There's not a lot of skill building in the very beginning. And so this becomes ineffective, and people start to say, this network marketing thing doesn't work. But we all know that that's not true. It certainly works. You just need the skills behind it. And so here's the fix. Here's what every successful digital marketer has: a warm online audience and strategies to constantly get new eyeballs, right? Constantly be growing it. A degree of influence, positive influence over that audience. And then the skill set to enroll that audience online. What we're going to focus today is influence, because the more I coach, the more that I'm convinced that influence, either in person or online, is the ticket and the key to successful enrollment. Now, here's the influence trap. And I totally fell prey to this. I was like, okay, well, I'm going to get online. I'm going to go and look at what all the big people are doing. And I'm watching people put their hands up and they want the product and they want to join the business. And I'm like, well, I'm just going to post the same exact thing as them. And sure enough, I got crickets. And I'm like, well, if it's not the post itself, what is it? It's the influence trap. The truth is, somebody who's been successful or is being successful in person or online has spent years growing their influence. And it really doesn't matter what product you put in their hand, it will sell. And this is, you can think about the rise of influencers. Yeah. People intentionally seek out influencers to partner with because of the influence. But a lot of times, influencers or leaders who are growing online, they aren't sure exactly what they did to build that influence. And so they can't teach it, they can't duplicate it. It's not strategic step by step in order to help their teams build the type of influence that they've been building over the years. So the strategy doesn't work for newbies who lack online influence. And I work with a lot of leaders who have this incredible amount of influence offline. You get them in a room and they'll sell 85%. But it's their online influence that doesn't quite match up yet. And so we just do the work of building the online influence so that it matches the offline influence that these leaders have. It's not that they're not influential people, it's just how do we get that number up a little bit in the online world? And so the key here is branding yourself in the online marketplace. as someone of value who solves specific issues. It's becoming the person that's known for a particular thing so that people who are looking for those solutions are magnetically drawn to that person. Now, if we want to tackle the challenge of effective online lead generation, and we know that without leads, any business dies. So there's a couple of different markets that we work in. Your hot market is somebody who you have authoritative influence over. My children are my hot market. When I say eat your broccoli, they do it because I've got authoritative influence over them. Now, my warm market, you have trustful influence over your warm market. You have built the relationship over time so that when you make a recommendation, they're that much more eager to listen. I would say I have trustful influence over my husband, mostly, mostly. Okay. He's like the one person in this world I can't coach is my husband. But if you rely on our heart and our hot and our warm markets only, our businesses will die because we're going to run out of people. Yeah. And so online, we have this ability to literally tap into billions of people who are our cold market. But in order to do that, we must learn how to build our influence online. So there's really two cold market organic lead generation strategies. There's the cold outreach, like I was explaining about my India shenanigans, yeah, versus building a personal brand that does the work for you. It attracts for you, it influences for you, and then you go and you do the enrollment. I'll tell you, if you focus on the skill sets in the attraction phase and the influence phase, people put their hand up and they're just ready. Yeah. A lot of people, when they're new online, they put up posts and they ask for the enrollment. They get crickets and they go, man, this stuff doesn't work. Well, they skipped two critical steps, attracting the right people and then growing your influence over them. So, cold outreach, does it work? Absolutely. There's some pros and cons. It requires a high volume of outreaches and messages consistently, and that thick skin and mental fortitude that I thought I had, but clearly I didn't, because it's a lot of rejection or a lot of silence, radio silence. For a lot of people, and I've seen this in my own business and I've seen this across the industry, if this is the only strategy they know online, they quit because there's just not enough positive reinforcement fast enough for them to see this strategy as effective. And it is effective over time if you can stay in the game, but it's difficult to ask teammates to do. And it doesn't actually positively build your brand reputation or association for the future. Your brand is the top asset, the most valuable asset that you could ever create in business. But this strategy doesn't build that brand. And you are still, in a way, trading time for money. Whereas if you build your brand, there's also pros and cons. It requires time, strategy, focus, and commitment to learning new skills. It is not natural for most people, but they're skills and anybody can learn skills. Okay. So you have to dial in on who you serve and how you serve them. A lot of us, we're in companies, right? You guys are in companies too, where you can serve a whole ton of people, but that doesn't work online. Online, you dial in on who it is that you want to serve and how you're going to serve them. Building a brand also requires that you, as the human behind the brand, are able to offer value to your community, both with your product and without your product. That is when you become somebody of influence. And you're trading your time learning these skills, putting out this content for this multi-million dollar asset, your brand, and these skill sets of copywriting and content creation and building that brand of yours. Influence built in this case equals money over time, which is why I said if you've got that 5 year vision of having an online business that's producing, now's the time to start dipping your toe in the water and learning the skills because it does take time. Okay. Now, what's not working online right now, if your influence is low, is posting blatantly about the products with your company name and with the names of the products. Online, the most effective brands brand the person. You're making you incorporated. Your company has its own brand, right? You don't need to help it out there. What you need to do is build your brand. The other thing is that prospects don't care about the name of products. They're asking, what's in it for me? WIIFM. Like, what are the benefits of that product? If a mom isn't sleeping, she just wants sleep solutions. She doesn't care the company, she doesn't care the vehicle. She just wants to sleep. And if you are known as the sleep coach, then guess who she's going to come to? Yeah. Now, if you need proof of this, here's a little thought exercise. I want you to think about a network marketing company or even just a company that puts a bad taste in your mouth for whatever reason. Now, imagine you're out there on social media and you see a comment and you're like, oh, who's this person? And you click on their profile and then you open up their page and it's plastered. It's just plastered. Or you can even think about somebody with a different political affiliation if you're passionate about that, right? How does that shift your perception of that human? You might go, oh no, not another one of those. And so if our profile is plastered with the company name and somebody has a negative connotation with network marketing or a negative connotation with whatever the company itself, then we actually lose the opportunity to influence them here. And so what's not working is branding the company. What is working is branding you. And so you might be asking, well, Allie, where can I post pictures, right? In a closed group that somebody has elected to be a part of. That's totally okay. Customers who are in that closed group, they actually need to know the names of the products, right? And exactly what they do so that they can buy them without you having to handhold them. Once somebody's a customer, there's no need for the interest or the intrigue peaking. Yeah. You can totally be blatant about the products and what they do within a closed group. And prospects can also be invited into that group if there's a reason for them to be there, like this incredible lead magnet that you've created. Maybe it's housed in the group, and then you have customers and prospects mingling together, which is a really effective strategy. Now, also in your stories on social media, you can post about your products if you already have a degree of influence. Listen, the more influence you have online, you can get away with anything in network marketing, right? It's those of us who are still building our influence that we need to have a little bit more secrecy there or intrigue, if you will. What does work is defining who you want to serve, which product you want to lead with online, learning how to create content that attracts people to solve that major pain point, creating curiosity about what it is and who you are, and offering tons of value. This works all the time, any company, any product. Here's more of what works: being education based, choosing what you want to be known for, and then doubling down on that educating content. What also always works, but it's the hardest thing to do for most people online, is being authentically, courageously you. Bringing all of you to the table always works. The other thing that works is storytelling, your own stories and other stories. And what works is attracting the audience and influencing them over time. I cannot stress enough that this strategy takes time, but it's worth it. Okay. So it takes time. Influence isn't built in a day. Yeah. It takes skills. So the program that I'm going to tell you about in a second is heavily skills based. And it takes commitment to practicing those skills over time. Now, if you want to win online and you have that 5 year horizon in front of you, it's actually simpler than you may have thought. So, skill sets: attract the right people, learn how to speak authentically to their pain with empathy, learn how to solve that pain both with and without the products. Over time, that will make you valuable online. And then there's a skill set of enrolling actually in messages. It's a little different than having people in your living room. There's a skill set there. And then for really large growth in the organization, you can learn how to create duplication systems online for your team like you have offline. And so Robert, Barbara, Carol, Vicky, y'all had a chance to be coached by me at some capacity. But what I did was I put together the Digital Edge course, and Robert's going to share his experience in a little bit, but I want to share what it is for you. The Digital Edge course is a skill set focused, step by step blueprint that teaches you the skills to attract, influence, and enroll your perfect prospects online. And it's created, you've heard a bit of my story, it's created from that time investment and the financial investment of learning from these top multiple seven-figure earners across the industry who are using these exact strategies to grow their business. Also, the decade of coaching practices. And I'm in the game too, right? I'm not a coach who's just sitting on the sideline. I'm in the game and I'm bringing my best practices to the table as well. And so in the course, you're going to learn the skill sets to do everything that you need to begin growing that brand online. But Robert, oh, and it's free. So why is it free? I always have to address this question because if it were valuable, it wouldn't be free, right? Well, it wasn't. Um, this course used to be a $1,200 investment for the year. but it's a God thing. Literally, about 2 weeks ago, I woke up on a Wednesday morning and I said, "Hey, any updates?" God, this is my conversation with God. I always be like, "Any updates I need to know about today?" And he's like, "Yeah." I said, "What's it? What is it?" He goes, "Well, the course is now free." And I said, "I'm sorry." He said, "Yeah, the course is free." And I said, "Why is the course free?" And like total panic, right? Like, I didn't build this course to be free. Why is the course free? And what he said was, "Check your heart." And then he went radio silent. And I was like, "Check my heart? Like, what's that supposed to mean?" So I sat down with a pen and paper and I said, "What is my heart in this course?" And my heart is for the industry alone, because you've heard my story. This industry and what it has done for my family, I don't know anything else like it. And as a mom of kids, multiple children, young kids with, medical mom, all that stuff, there's nothing else that could have done for me what this industry has done for me. So my heart's for the industry, also its leaders. Leading a team has incredible challenges. It's also wildly rewarding. But when the course was there, I was coaching leaders who then turned to me and said, "Allie, I want my team on board, but how in the world do I go and teach them this stuff? They can't afford even the course." So this course being free serves the leaders. I can coach the leaders, and you have a reference and a resource that your teams can go through and learn as they go. And baby builders. I'm not one to doom and gloom. The economy's tough. And this industry, tons of people are turning to the industry to alleviate financial stress. And the course being free helps that as well. And so free supports everyone. I don't argue with God anymore. I've learned lessons over the years. So it's free. So that day it turned free. And now we have 49 students going through the course on their own pace, which is awesome. Now, caveat here, just because it's free, please don't undervalue it. It would hurt my feelings. Okay, it wouldn't hurt my feelings, but um, it's everything I know, right? It's everything I know. It's my heart and my soul. And diving in is the only way to get the value that I promise. And so you get the same exact course that coaching students are working through. The course doesn't change. I'm not hiding anything. There's no secrets, right? We email support weekly, a check in and a check out. That just helps you organize your plan for the week. There's a Telegram group for announcements and support. And then I will be doing some special seminars later on down the road. But rather than hear me talk about it, you've got a couple folks here. Robert, who's a current student, Barbara, who's been a student. So if you want to just share a couple things, Robert, I will stop my share.
Thank you, Allie.
Mm,
Yeah, and it is a God thing. It's also a God thing that we're reconnected. As you heard, Allie and I, a couple of you came on just now, Shane and Jerry. Just to reiterate, Allie, it wasn't a mistake because when we were connected, you were actually on a team that I was involved with at the time of the company, and we had spent 2 trips to China. It didn't happen. And because of all that, Allie and some other leaders that she was associated with had to find another vehicle. And that was a blessing because come full circle. And now if it wasn't for that relationship and what happened then, I've never met Allie and her family and on her journey, and we wouldn't have reconnected. And here we go. So 1, 2, 3 for me. One is Allie came along with the coaching and the course now because I was struggling. I was taking these different courses and paying decent money for them, and I was doing the work, although there was missing pieces. Any of you buy a course and you take it, and the trainers and even the people they bring on, they teach this pie, and the majority of them have integrity and they're ethical and they're doing the course right to the best of their ability. That being said, they don't always talk about maybe they're on chapter 10. They don't talk about chapter 1 and 2 or 3 and 4. And so it was some of those key missing pieces that were vital to making it work to connect the dots that Allie, her coaching, and now the course have it's connecting the dots for me
mm,
versus these one-stop courses, these unicorn, some of the sometimes the unicorns of the unusual, unique situations that aren't always duplicatable by the average person. Not that any of us are average, otherwise it would be on this line, but you know what I mean. So it's the missing pieces. Number two, it's course correction for me. When I get over here, I admittedly, I'm a little bit of not so much OCD, but I'm definitely ADD. And I chase squirrels and rabbits and possums and coons very easily. Oh, there goes a golf ball too. So I chase things pretty easily. And so I need a coach. I have several coaches that I lean onto, but I also need a coach that has been immersed and knows what the time leverage and residual income professionals of this profession that I love dearly, that's blessed Joy and I's lives richly. I need a course I need a coach who's immersed in that. That's also founded with her. She's founded in her faith. This is just my value system. And then she's family centric and she's lives a life built on ethics and integrity. That's so it's Allie's helping me course correct when I need course correction, which is a lot. And I would say number three, the whole duplication thing, because Allie and I were touching on this in our little short, we had a short pre-brief before getting on here, how we could best serve you watching this. And Allie and I kind of at one point in that pre-brief looked at each other and said, you know, one of the biggest gifts of all in this type of program is if somebody is beautiful and is heart-centered, is like Carol Henderson right there, brings on board somebody like Barb. Let's say Barb is on chapter 6 of social media, maybe Carol's on chapter 4. Carol can still be that leader. And the difference is Carol can keep mentoring and coaching Barb. She doesn't necessarily have to train and teach Barb because
Skill set.
when the training and teaching are being done beautifully and that training and teaching is updated because things evolve almost overnight in this day and age. So now Carol can continue to be that leader to a leader who's as proactive and amazing as Barb because she's mentoring, coaching, and she can guide her along the journey with a proven journey. So those are some of the things that I could go on, but I'm actually doing something right now because of Allie's teachings and the step-by-step progression that I started and put off and started and stopped and kept kicking myself for it, playing the comparison game. And I'm actually getting it done thanks to Allie. And you'll all see it. It's an ebook, but it's also a lead magnet, and it personifies the essence of who I am. And anybody that reads that, whether they ever buy a product or do business with me or not, it's going to bless their lives and their business. And Allie's helping me create that along with many other things. So yeah,
Well, and let me just add, Robert, I think we've been working together for 4 months
yeah,
consistently now. And the transformation that I've seen in you has been monumental. And I don't know if you guys are seeing it yet. Um, I think I'm privy to a front row seat because I see him 3 times a week on coaching. Um, but Robert, your ability now to peel back the layers of the onion and really find your own voice on social media has been wildly inspiring to me.
it's incremental, but thank you. I received that. Thank you.
Hmm. Hmm. Barb, was there anything that you wanted to share about your experience? You don't have to. I did not
Oh,
prep you, so you don't have
nope,
to.
nope, I would love to. One of the things that I have really come to terms with your help, and this was just a personal thing. I've been in network marketing for so many years, and it wasn't until you that I realized why I wasn't really successful. I don't like doing belly to belly. I don't like doing it.
Look at you. I didn't know that.
I did not. So I've always had some success because I could force myself to do it. But it wasn't until you that it was like, you know what? I'm just going to admit that I don't really particularly like doing belly to belly. Just don't. And I quit apologizing for it. So
There you
when
go.
Robert brought you to me of, ooh, social media. Now I like being on social media because I already do a podcast. I'm going to have you on it. I already do videos. I like doing that. And
Right.
now you've combined that I like doing that. And now plus the consistency of doing my TikToks. And the first time one of my TikToks went over 1,000 views, it was like, And now
Huge.
I've got whole bunches of them that have gone over 1,000. But I started with 200, which TikTok
Amazing.
gives you. Started with 200, then went to 300 and 400 and 600 and 800, and now several of them are over 1,200. And it's just been so rewarding to see that now I'm starting to build my influence because I'm getting more and more people all the time and
Yes.
and getting them consistently, not doing them every day. No, I'm not, but I'm getting consistent. And now
Right.
I wake up in the morning and go, ooh, I wonder what my TikTok did. And so now it's,
Hey.
and
Well, and,
Cheryl
and that
hears it. Guess what my
that's
TikTok did?
I love it. It's such an important point, guys, because on social media it's really easy to get into the comparison game,
Yeah.
right? But the reality is, in order to build a six-figure business on social media, you need 1,000 raving fans.
Hmm.
You don't need the million. You're not going for vanity metrics. And I think part of the program, like what put me at ease as I was learning these strategies, is learning at what stage, what results I'm going for.
Right.
When you're in the attraction phase and you're just trying to get more eyeballs that are within your ideal market, you're going for follows. You're not going for enrollments,
No.
right? When you're in that influence stage, you're going for conversations and engagement. You're not going for enrollments. Yeah. And then in the enrollment stage, that's when you're going for enrollments. But you might not ask for an enrollment online for 90 days, 120 days. You're just spending that time building the influence, attracting the eyeballs, getting your messaging right.
Hmm.
And it just, for me, I think learning these skills and putting them to practice, it's like the confidence that I know what I'm doing online every day and I know why I'm doing it and I know what to measure.
Yeah.
That alone, Robert.
Yeah, I want to comment for those listening too on this recording or live that Allie's course that she's now offering, at no expense, is free. There's so many modules, and I asked Allie's permission to say this that you can look at that course and look at a given module and say you're really focusing on you want to master and be effective at say Reels on Instagram or Facebook. Okay, you can actually jump to that module, learn the skill set, and then applying that, be consistent with that, and then do whatever you want with the course. It's such a comprehensive step-by-step course full of mindset, yes, and the right place strategically, but also full of skill set, step by step building skill set modules too. So you can pick and choose as a buffet, as well as sequential journey as well. So I just want to put that out there. It's quite comprehensive.
And we didn't touch on this, but it's full of AI strategies
Yeah.
to make your work much more effective and faster.
Yeah, and the way you teach that for those listening right now, to me, it's important to say this. The way Ali teaches how to leverage AI, she teaches it in a way that you do it in a way that merges totally your personality and who I am, who Jim is, who Shane is,
Mhm.
into the AI. It's you don't just say you got to use our brains and hearts. As Ali says that all the time when it comes to using AI. So
Yeah, yeah. So let me just share this real quick. For those of you who are interested, let me give you the website for you.
yeah,
Wait, I went past it. So alimona.org is the course website. Scroll down and you'll find the free option. And then you'll enter your name, your phone, and your email. And then you'll get an email with your login details. Okay. In the email is a link to join the Telegram group. If you want to stay connected to community, go ahead and enjoy that. And then there are coaching options available. That's what Robert's doing. That's what Barb's getting back into. But please don't invest until you go through a little bit of the coaching and then make sure that I'm the right coach for you.
yeah,
Okay. You also have access to all of the recordings of the live coaching calls. So you can see the students be coached live, and those are invaluable to your work. So even if you don't want to invest in the coaching or it's not the right time for you, you have all of those replays that you can tap into. And eventually you'll get the coaching voice in your head. I don't know if that's happened to you yet, Robert. Like, what would Allie say? So eventually you'll get there and you can coach yourself. But there are options. I just want you to understand that. Okay, so alliemono.org. And then if anyone has any questions, I'd be happy to take them.
Yeah, Allie doesn't bite too much. Some questions, comments?
Only during coaching,
Yeah,
only when given permission.
there you go.
Approximately how much time would you think would be adequate per week to go through these modules?
That's a really good question, Jim. So there will be 33 modules.
Wow.
There's currently 24. I am building the ship while we're at sea, listening to student feedback and making sure that it's as comprehensive as possible. Um, I would say, at a minimum, to be able to go through a module a week and implement what it is that you're learning. That would be like minimum. Okay. Just to stay in the game. Yeah. So 33 modules, that's how many months? Divide by 4. I don't know. 8 months. Now, I have students that go through 6 modules in a week, right? And so it really comes down to the timeline is not important as much as the skill set building is. And so I always recommend give what you can because you'll begin to capture some momentum and some confidence and it'll start to be fun, right? And so we're getting that airplane off the runway and there is value in front end loading as much effort as one can. Now, I'm also not super long-winded. So some modules are 15 minutes of teaching, right? Some might take an hour if I'm really going into it. If I'm doing an AI walkthrough, it might be 45 minutes and you're pausing the module and doing your own AI work. And so every module is a little bit different, Jim. Um, but as much as you can. There's no harm in one week doing 1 hour and the next week doing 4.
Awesome. Thank you.
Of course. Thanks for the question.
Yeah. Thank
Carol?
you.
Um, do you have to use AI to do all your stuff?
Absolutely not. So I teach you the brain method first, and I'm a copywriter by trade, and so I'm super big into using your brain for copywriting. But even I use AI to copyright for me now because it takes me less energy to edit than it does to create. And so if AI is not your thing, the course will be wildly valuable. It's just taking a little bit more time to produce the work.
Okay.
I also make AI really not scary. I give you all the prompts. I give you, I give you all the stuff.
I've just been told I can't put it on my computer. So,
Oh, got it. Yes. Okay. Understood. So yeah, you will
So
totally be able to do it.
my stuff for me. If I need something like that, Barbara does it for me.
There you
We
go.
kind
I love it. There you go.
Yeah.
You can have work sessions.
We do.
And I just want to add, I want to add a caveat to that question is that, like, for example, an example is module 17A and B, which is creating a lead magnet. By the way, for the non-techies, I won't say names, but Jim, anyway, I lead magnet is a free offer that has tremendous value somebody can download or access. And
You exchange it for an email contact. So you're building
exactly.
your list over time.
So my point is that in module like 17 and 17A and B, it's like I was listening to Allie, I pulled up Chat GPT or Now site. I use both, but and I would pause it. There's Allie's prompts. Blah, 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 click. Okay, here it is. Okay, now I can tweak it. Okay, here's the next prompt. And so it was so systematic, step by step by step. I didn't come up against walls that I normally would. So
And now Robert's using his copywriting skills that he's learned in his brain to go back through and edit it and make sure it's his voice.
yeah, and now as I ask it to do like chapter 1 or 2, I have the outline, but I'm adding some personal anecdotes and stories, and I'll say, okay, I call it my GPT buddy. Hey buddy, let's do chapter 2. Here's the outline, and here is like I may have half a page of my personal stories and quotes and insights and experiences, and please weave these into the chapter. And so it creates this beautiful chapter from my ebook that is it's me and my stories and experiences. But to me, the AI, my chat buddy, is like kind of filling in and beautifying my rough notes.
Can I just jump in and say that I was asked to write an article for our company. And so I wrote down a whole bunch of good notes, but it didn't have any body to it. And Robert agreed that I could send those notes to him. He would put it through the AI, and it came back the best piece I've ever written in my life. Very seriously, it shocked me.
No.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
So
anyway,
AI, the reason it's so prevalent throughout the course is just to make life a little bit easier and faster. But you still have to understand the tenets behind great copywriting, the tenets behind great posts, the tenets behind how to build influence and attraction. Yeah. So you get both best of both worlds there.
yeah,
Because if AI goes down, we still have to know how to do the reels, right? Yeah.
great questions. Other questions, comments before we end this particular chat? All right, alimona.org is the place to go. Free digital course, and again, we're going to have even some groups. The more of us go through the course, even like a Zallevo specific group that we could chat, compare notes, and some of a lot of the material that I know I'm creating. Hopefully, you know my heart. I create tools with this course that, with a few easy tweaks, can be used by anybody. So that's the other end in mind as we do create some of these tools, even including ebooks and stuff, is that I'm using Fiverr for the end version of it, but I'm going to have my Fiverr person. I think I'm going to choose a lady in Australia. I'm just getting some estimates. It's going to be about $80, whatever, but could be $60. But anyway, she's going to do it in a way like through Canva. And so then Carol could grab it and just with a few tweaks make it, oh, here's Carol's ebook or here's Jim's or whatever. So.
Yeah, that's, I think, one of the biggest benefits of doing it together. The module that I'm working on today, Robert, you will appreciate this, is a launch strategy for new partners who are building their business online. So imagine somebody comes in and says, hey, I want to build Zallevo and I want to do it online. And you go, here's a 7-day launch sequence for your social media. Here's a 15-day launch sequence for your social media. And that's something that all of you can co-create together and have as a team resource.
That's awesome. Yeah.
It's truly, it separates in the online marketing world the pros from the amateurs. And that's what, with Robert's leadership, Jim's leadership, you have the ability to become that super magnetic team within the industry.
Yeah, because one of the tools we will create is a nurturing. One of the things that we are looking to, we need, to lack of a better word, we desperately need, is some nurturing campaigns to plug into the first few weeks of a customer or brand partner's experience. So
yeah. So imagine just being like, hey, try these posts out for a week and then we'll adjust.
yeah.
How cool would that be? How cool will that be? Because I know that you'll create it.
Yeah. So
all right, guys, it was an honor. I hope that you learned something fun today. Jim, you were going to say something.
I was
cut
just
you
going to
off.
say thank you to all of you, both Robert and you, for bringing this to our attention. I'm grateful for the download you got from the Lord saying,
Tell you.
put it out free, because we can certainly benefit from that and also use your talents to bless our lives.
Well, I'm honored. I'm
Thank you.
honored. So please use it. Please
We
use
will.
it. That would be the most honoring thing, is to not let it go to waste. Okay. So thank you, Robert, for having me. It's great to see so many familiar faces. And I'm sure you guys still have other things. So I will exit, and I'll see you guys soon. Okay.
Thank you,
Hi,
Mark.
Allie. This
Thank
was
you.
awesome.
Thanks, Allie.
Thank you, Allie.
Appreciate
Bye.
it.
Of
Good night.
course.
Thank you.
All right. Thanks everybody for being here. Again, feel free to reach out to me even directly if questions. Even if it's and Allie does offer another non-charge, a free initial, like I think it's a 20 or 30-minute coaching, like a discovery call. So if that's something you want to even step into, you can do one, and then you get to know her, she gets to know you, and see if there's a fit there for even if you want to do some coaching. So again, one last call. Any other questions before we end this Zoom?
No, this was great, Robert. Thank you.
It sure was. Thank
Yes,
you.
thank you, Robert.
Thanks
Thanks for
everybody.
setting us up, Robert.
What's that,
I
Carrie?
couldn't, I
Love y'all.
couldn't be on at
We're
the
setting it up.
Love and light. Thanks everybody. Bye-bye.
See ya.
Bye.
Bye.